Sports card collecting is hard until you learn these factors. And what I'm going to try to tell you is how can you understand the hobby? How can you also know that it's hard, but also figure out your expectations? And what do you think before we even start the video? Send us some comments. And what do you think the hardest part about sport card collecting, the hobby is? I'll listed 5 things just so you guys can see just about where we're at and talking with Scotty and Johnny and myself just to see what is the hardest part about collecting in the hobby and looking over YouTube videos and things like that and all different kind of stuff. We've been trying to figure out what's the hard part and what can we do to meet people's expectations and have them not have these large things. So the first one was understanding the hobby is more than just cards. It's more about the journey. It's more about not chasing the hype. So the first part about the journey is, don't rely on big hits. You're not going to find big hits. As our last video and the video before and the video before that, we've been getting some great comments about everything. And I've been reading all these comments, and I can see that where some of you guys are at on where your journey is and what your expectations are. And a lot of people have been saying about just don't chase the big hits. Don't get frustrated, right? You're going to open a blaster box. You're going to open a hobby box. You're going to open up these different things. And the more money you spend on things, obviously, the more chances you're going to get. But if you're just a normal collector and going out in the store and getting a hobby box, opening up with your kids or your dad or your parents or whatever, don't expect you're going to get this $1,000 card in these things. That's very, very rare. Just like winning the lottery is very, very rare. It's a crapshoot. And when you're looking at this stuff, don't expect big hits and don't get frustrated. If you don't expect big hits, it's hard to get frustrated, right? If I'm going to go out there and play baseball, my expectations probably are very high to play baseball, and I want to go 12 for 12 or 16 for 16. But I know I'm not going to go for 16 for 16 all the time because baseball is a hard sport and batting is very hard. And the same with football and things like that, right? But my expectations are there, but I do have some reasonable expectations of where I want to kind of be. So it's kind of the same thing as that. Don't chase the hype. The hype is very important because, you want to focus on your favorites, not on like who's the best right now and what I want to get now, because they're going to be so overpriced that you're going to break the bank on these things. And we don't want you breaking the bank, and you don't want to break the bank, because then what happens if they get hurt and something happens to them and now, they're done and now their value done. So you just spent $1,000 on the card. Now the card's worth $5. I've been seeing that in the comments a lot with you guys as well from our last video. The next one is, just like I've been talking about already, set expectations that are realistic, and especially from the start. If you are a new collector, or maybe you're an old collector that has been not collecting for years and years and years, and now you're coming back into the field, set realistic expectations. The odds, they are not in your favor, right? They are not in your favor because it's rare and to find these things, just like I said before. So you want to set these realistic expectations on, okay, maybe if I open 10 boxes, I may find one $20 card or one $50 card. That's an expectation that, I can live with, even though I'm not trying to make money on this, but maybe I can resell that card or grade that card and then hold on to that card and might go out or go more in value as the years go on. But setting those expectations won't make you be all down on yourself after you're done. The next is I always try to focus building a collection. That's my main goal. Yeah, I can find some great cards here and there and some things like that, but I want to focus on building my collection. Do I want to get all the stars of the game? Do I want to get all of the green varieties or things like that for the Donruss Optics? So I want to find all these different kind of, to the moons, like in Big League Baseball. Set those expectations, but focus on building a collection. And the more satisfying you do, the more satisfying you complete your set. That's the most satisfying you can get is, okay, yeah, I finally completed that set, and that was great. And it took me maybe a year to do that. And that's what you're feeling. That's what you're feeling in your heart about that stuff. The next one is knowledge is power. I've been saying this over and over to some of you guys in the comments when you comment on things, right? And I think we both agree that doing your research is so important, especially nowadays when the hobby is so broad. Like I said before, you're having Topps, and Topps has 45,000 different different versions of Topps. And then, Bowman has 45 different thousands of that. And then so all the different kinds of things that you're looking at, right? There's so many different variations of these that you have to do your research so when you get something, it may be either a great card, not a good card, depending on what's going on. So first is like learn about grading. So doing your research, learn about grading, learn about parallels, inserts, key terms. It's so important to understand what you're pulling and what cards are good and what cards are good for you. Next one is stay informed in the market. Now, how I do this is I'm in a couple of Facebook marketplace groups, or not marketplace, but just the Facebook groups, and people post all the time on what they're trying to sell or what they're trying to look for or what they're interested in. And I can kind of gauge the interest about things that are around at least my area and the area that I'm in, because in the United States. But also the inserts, the key terms, they're so important to look about, and the grading. It's so important to understand all these things. And when you're looking at the market, okay, how much is this going to go for? How much is this going to go for? How long is the grading process going to be? eBay helps you do this. Facebook does as well, but eBay is really the greatest thing because you can just go on and say like Bowman 2024 and then search all the Bowman 2024 cards that have been sold and then list by like most, and you can see, okay, which one is the most. It's probably a bad thing to do because honestly, okay, then you're thinking, I'm going to get this card. I want to get this card, where the reality is you're probably not going to get it. But you can list and see how much those cards are worth. I know the Bowman 2024s are a more expensive pack than like the big league baseballs, or whatever it is for football or basketball. The same thing. You have to do your research. I do a lot of research in baseball and hockey and especially football, just so I can see what cards, if I get that card, what is it, a good card? Is it not a good card? And it helps you by not overpaying for that card. So if I have like a CJ Stroud green variety, I know it's going to be about $300. I'm not going to spend $1,000 on that card. So I can see how much it's worth, how much I might want to pay for it. Maybe I can get it for a better deal, save it for my collection, things like that. Because we're kind of saving for our collection. But if you're like a flipper and you want to resell things, maybe you buy it for a lower price, resell it. I don't really do that. But, researching is so important. Price guides, websites. There's a lot of things out there now that you can research. And, going to card shops, going to card stores, going to just the actual card displays and things like that at auctions or at card shows. These things you can really gauge the interest and how everything's going. The next one is, this is like so important because money is frugal, right? Setting a budget and sticking to it. Like maybe I have a budget of $500 for the month or $500 for the year, $500 for a year, I still get yelled at, but I mean, $500 for the month or $500 for a year, right? And I use that budget and I buy a blaster box here, blaster box there, pack here, pack there. You don't want to overextend yourself. You don't want to be going and getting these hobby boxes or blaster boxes and like, oh, I finally found a Bowman 24 blaster box and there's 5 of them. I'm going to get all 5, right? And now you're overextending yourself, and then you open up all these boxes and there's nothing in there, right? That really, kills not kills you, but kills the hobby, right? And well, not kills the hobby, but kills you actually, right? And now you're like, oh man, did I spend all this money on this and I had nothing to show for it, right? So try to do it maybe monthly or quarterly or annually and set a budget. That's really a great thing to do with anything, is to set a budget and not overextending yourselves, right? Because excitement may lead to overpaying. You saw, like I saw Elly De La Cruz for the first time last year. I'm like, oh man, I got to get an Elly De La Cruz card. Now they're all $500. Am I going to spend $500 for an Elly De La Cruz card? Probably not, right? So I kind of sat back and just relaxed a little bit, right? A couple of years, maybe you can get that card for a little bit cheaper, depending on what's going on and how he's playing. But also another part of setting a budget is buying cards you love. Not the next big thing. Buy the ones that you love. If you're a Yankees fan, get the Aaron Judges, or get the, Perazzas, or get the ones that maybe are not as important or not as, popular now, and maybe it'll be popular in the future, but not the next best thing. Connect with the cards you personally love, right? That'll always outweigh flipping, right? The ones I finally got, like, for me, I collected cards when I was a kid, back in the late 80s, early 90s. I always wanted to get like a Gretzky card. I always wanted to get like a Bo Jackson card, Ken Griffey Jr., Michael Jordan, the baseball Michael Jordan card, right? Never got them before, right? But I always wanted to get them and try to get them. And I always would, if I was ever to get that, I would always save it, and put it in my personal collection because that was like a cool thing that I actually wound up getting. So that's like buying cards you love, even though they're probably the most expensive cards then. But maybe like a Jose Canseco in the late '80s, maybe not as popular. You can get his card. Mark McGwire's rookie cards when he first came out, not as popular. Things like that, and that might help you out in when you're setting a budget and trying to stick to that most important budget. Then second to last one is patience. Patience is so key with anything in the world. Patience is key. Don't fly to it, right? Don't expect instant gratification. The effort is there, right? The time is there, and that's very key into your patience, right? Time is key. Effort is key, right? The player's going to be around for a while, so maybe just patient and then sit back and just see how he does, right? Or see what's going on. Also, learn to appreciate the little wins that you may have finding these boxes or finding things in these boxes, right? Small victories, they're not just an end result, right? And you find these small victories. I found a $20 card, $30 card here, put in your personal collection, maybe get it graded, things like that. That's about patience and waiting and waiting and waiting and finally grabbing a box or finally grabbing something like this and getting a card or things like that. And patience may pay off in the end. The last thing I really said, where I thought I was going to talk about, and most important, not most important, but one of the most important ones is have fun. Don't take it too seriously. Like, you don't want to be getting all bent out of shape and trying to find this CJ Stroud card or this Elly De La Cruz card or a Matvey Michkov or a Connor Bedard card or whatever, right? You don't want to get all bent out of shape, and you don't want to take it too serious. This is have fun. This is a hobby, right? Some people, it is their job, obviously, right? But most of the time, it's a hobby and it's not a job, right? Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process of finding a blaster box and opening up with your kids or your dad or your aunt or uncle or whatever, or mom or dad, right? Enjoy that. Enjoy the process of doing that and going out to the store and be like, yeah, we finally found about blaster box. We finally found these cards and things like that. And you'll always remember that for the rest of your life. I remember when I opened up my first Gretzky card and my first Bo Jackson card when I was a kid. And I still remember where I was that day and who I was with and things like that. So have fun. Don't take it seriously. So these 6 things I talked about, hopefully they helped you out and they help you understand why sports card collecting is very, very hard, but also why you can learn a lot and understand how you can get better at it and not like jump to things and not be so, impulsive when you're buying these things. But the ending, I just want to wrap up, and hopefully it's easier for you. You can understand the basics now a little bit on how people are collecting and how they're understanding the entire thing. Make sure you set your expectations. Make sure you understand what's going on. Make sure you set a budget and stick to it. Make sure you have a lot of patience because that'll help you in the end. But make sure you guys leave your thoughts in the comments like you've been doing. It's great. We have a great community aspect in our comments. We appreciate you guys commenting. We try to get back to all of you guys, and we love how we can interact with all you guys, and it's a great thing. And I think this channel is really going somewhere, so hopefully you guys think the same thing. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.